Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. We're recording this on Monday, President's Day, a holiday. But you know who's coming to be here with you because he is the number one delight? Chris Franjola.
That's right. On a holiday I
On a
came.
holiday.
Gorgeous. It must be like 80 degrees and
We
sunny.
could be having
and
such a fun time
I
doing
know.
something else.
Yeah, drinking by the beach or
Kelly's
something.
here. I'm here. Just came off a great weekend, though, in San Antonio.
San
I wanna
Antonio.
Thank everybody. It
Texas.
was freaking awesome.
Isn't Texas always great?
It has so far. It has been.
Yeah, I've never had bad shows in Texas.
We went to this place in San Antonio called the Pearl, where there's like all these restaurants, and the whole area has been, I guess, built like 5 years ago. Could not be cuter.
That
Could be.
Riverwalk area?
There's the Riverwalk, but then there's like
Yeah.
another part that is part of the river, but it's not as crowded or like,
Yeah.
you know. The Riverwalk over there felt a little bit Universal Studios.
Sure.
Like I
right.
thought like a shootout was going to happen, like a fake shootout.
Right.
Like, you know.
Oh, like
Then we went to the Pearl, and that was like all like beautiful. It was a brewery that was made into a hotel called Hotel Emma, where like Cher and J-Lo stay.
Oh,
But
wow.
then it was like still down to earth, and there were like cute kids and cuter dogs. And a guy played music and
yeah.
organic
That's
food.
what you need.
But it was like not too hippie, like
Right.
just right, and just
Okay.
it was just so fun.
Beautiful.
I probably got like 1 million people from California to move there this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, I think I'll just
I
move
might
there.
move there too. I think I'm gonna go
You
play
should go
guitar.
there. We
with
have so many
Cher.
juicy topics to talk about. We're going to get into them first.
Okay.
Pamela Anderson.
You're going. Who's that? Peter with her in that picture? It looks like Peter. His name is John Peters, right?
Oh my God. If Peter grew out his hair, it got a little
Yeah.
whiter and he was like maybe 10 years older because this guy's like, well, more than 10 years. This guy's 74, but he looks pretty good for 74, actually.
He does. Yeah.
Pamela
Wow.
Anderson, is this her fifth or fourth or fifth
I believe
husband?
it's the fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she married Tommy Lee. I think she
Kid
even,
Rock.
I think she may have had like a starter marriage before Tommy Lee that we don't know about.
I think so. I think
Okay.
that was
Then Tommy Lee,
right.
which by the way, I had Bobby Brown, not the makeup artist, but like the girl from Star Search that was like, then she became like this video girl. She came on my
Oh
show.
yeah, she was
And
in
she was
the Warrant video Cherry Pie.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
she's very famous for that video.
She
yeah.
was Tommy Lee's very serious girlfriend. They may have been engaged.
Yeah.
And he like met her at a party and then flew somewhere, and she found out like via a friend that they got married in Mexico.
Oh really?
Yeah, like,
oh, and
they
they
were-
were dating at the time.
He was like still with Tommy Lee or something. It was
Yeah.
crazy. So he marries Tommy Lee, has the kids with him, right? Then she got married to Kid
Kid Rock.
Rock, and I feel like she only knew him for like a week.
Yeah, that was a quickie. As
Then
well.
she got married to Rick Solomon,
Rick Solomon.
who was the one that filmed Paris Hilton's
Yes.
sex tape.
He was like a online gambling magnate or whatever the word is.
And he also dated Shannon Doherty.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And Paris Hilton. Yeah, you said that right. Yeah.
He's the one that
yeah,
filmed it or
filmed it.
released it.
Filmed the second one. There were two.
Right.
He was the
Okay.
one with the night vision. Remember, it was weirdly
Right.
shot in night vision, so
Yes.
her eyes were look like a cat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right. Well, it made her a star, but she acted like she was annoyed that it was released.
Right.
Then she got divorced from him. Then she remarried him.
Didn't she marry the surfer Kelly Slater? No,
but she was with him.
I thought they had a kid together. I could be wrong. Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, this guy she was flirting with before Tommy Lee at the Playboy Mansion.
They've always been kind of rumored to be an item.
And somehow they found each other recently.
This is John Peters. He was the very famous producer, Peter Goober Peters. That's where they was a producing team.
Okay.
Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop,
Yeah.
you name it in the 80s.
Right.
Peter Goober, I believe, has died. John Peters recently just produced A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. So he's still out there
when
producing
I saw
big
Star Is
movies.
Born, I thought maybe it was the first one because he's so much older.
No,
I didn't know.
He
Not the
put-
first one, but the one with,
the one with Barbra Streisand. No,
Yeah.
he produced this
That's
one,
pretty
the new
happening.
one. So he's making still a lot of money.
He's got a full head of hair,
Uh-huh.
as does my Peter. You know, a good match. Anyway, when he was in his early 40s and she was in her early 20s, they either went out or were really flirty at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
He went on to marry other people too because this was his fourth or fifth. marriage, and then hers around there too. They got married after 2 weeks. She made the boys show up again.
The boys,
Brandon and Dylan.
and those kids are now in their 20s.
Yes.
Aren't they a bit estranged from her or Tommy Lee?
Back and forth. One of them was really mad at Tommy Lee for a while, and they were like doing Instagram wars.
They were airing it out on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, and they punched each other or something. But then they like got back together and they were friendly. And then one of them, I think it's the Brandon one, was on the hills. I don't even think he was friends with those kids, but they're like, well, you live in Malibu, want to just come over and like you're pretty hot. I mean, both the boys are like very good looking, and I don't know if they play music or anything, but they've lived, a privileged life. But hopefully they're doing okay. But they're both hot dudes. Okay, they're tall, good looking guys.
Yeah, well, their parents are good looking
people. Yeah. So they're like, again, Mom? And so they went and showed up, and they did the wedding, and they're like Malibu neighbors. And
they actually, there was a ceremony?
They've gone to every one of her weddings.
No, but
except
this one, John Peters, there was I thought I had heard that they got married via text or divorced via text.
The thing, via text divorce, but the thing I read when they first got married was that, they had like a small ceremony, and the boys were there.
Oh, okay. Well,
and,
So it lasted how long? 5 days?
I think less than 2 weeks, and then it was just that statement, like it's with a heavy heart and the utmost respect, we're going to remain best friends.
But that's not what, because I heard
now
he made
a statement.
Yeah, now it's gotten ugly.
Now he's basically saying what?
She had a big bill,
big financial,
like a $350,000 bill. He paid it and then divorced him.
Yeah,
that's what and he said, "There's no fool like an old fool," was his quote.
So he's saying that she, did that voice and got him to marry her and fall in love with her. She has just a magical sex appeal.
But still, though, I mean, not just because I've seen pictures and I don't think
she still looks great. He's 74. Okay, she's 52. She still has a great
52?
body.
Okay.
You know what? She looks good. She looks good. She's been smart about the plastic surgery. She doesn't look weird.
Yeah.
She had originally a beautiful original sized lips, which look to be untouched.
Right.
Or if they are touched, they're touched very well. She hasn't enlarged her cheeks. Because I think she is like all vegan and had the Hep C and everything, I don't think that she does a lot of filler or anything.
Yeah.
So, but I still think she looks amazing. And you don't forget how to be good at sex. It's like getting back on a bicycle.
Right.
And so I think she knew what to do to make him go, abso-fucking-lutely. I'm going to marry you tomorrow, call the boys. And then right after that, she was like, hey, by the way, this is adding a lot of stress on me, and I don't think I can get wet until this bill is paid. And he was like, no problem.
You mean actually wet, not like in the water, Baywatch
not
wet.
Like in the, I don't know, like
I got you, I understand.
You know.
Yeah, I understand.
And then once they said, okay, great, that's all cleared, your sex bill is paid for, whatever it was. And then he's like, wouldn't it be nice? Where's Pamela? Where's Pamela? Excuse me, sir. Pamela, she's out for the day. And then another thing. And then he comes home and all her stuff is gone.
Right.
And she's just like, it's just
her
not for me.
Her 3 bikinis and her
her 3 white bikinis.
Yeah, her 3 white bikinis
are gone. They're not hanging in his
and
closet anymore. And what do you always
say? Her clear heels.
Her clear heels and her 3 white bikinis were packed in a jiffy.
Right.
And it just didn't work out. And what is she saying?
But here's
is
a guy.
She saying that's not true, or
no? I haven't heard her end of the story.
Okay.
I've only read his. I haven't heard her make a comment. Maybe she has. I don't know. But I figured this is a guy who's been around in this business for a long, long time.
Yeah.
That how is he still getting played by like a Pamela Anderson type? I feel like at this point you're like, all right, I've seen it all.
I'm sorry to tell you this, Chris.
Some guys are just still stupid.
So many are so dumb.
Right.
That the more women can realize that, the more they can get ahead.
Right.
I mean, I'm so pissed that my mom raised me in a way of always get an education. No one can take that away from you.
Yeah.
Always make your own money.
Mm-hmm. And you've done that.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting someone to pay a $300,000 bill.
Do you know?
If I had Pamela Anderson's mom, maybe I would.
Do you know how John Peters got into the business? He was Barbra Streisand's hairstylist, and that's how he got into the show business. The movie Shampoo with Warren Beatty is loosely based on John Peters.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chris, that's amazing juicy scoop
Isn't that a good
history.
juicy scoop? Yeah.
Right, because in the movie Shampoo, which is a very old movie, you guys, I mean, it was like
great movie.
It was
by the
ahead
way.
of my time, but we had no filter
Warren
growing
Beatty,
up, so I was able to watch
about as
it.
good looking as a person can get in
And
that
Goldie
movie.
Hawn.
And
he'd come over and do their hair and sleep with them.
Yeah.
All these women and he was like, and everyone thought, oh, the husbands didn't care because they thought he's a hairdresser, he must be gay.
Right.
But he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's loosely based on John Peters, who was Barbra Streisand's hairstylist.
Well, good work. Well, who do you think she's going to date next?
Well, I just don't know what does she do anymore in the business. She's not acting anymore in anything, at least that I know of. And then she doesn't. I don't know what she does. She hasn't even gone on to.
Well, I have something exciting to announce.
Oh.
She is starting her own podcast.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, has she started a podcast?
I'm sure it's going to be about parenting hot boys.
Is she really starting
a
podcast?
podcast? But I'm sure it'll happen.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Why not?
Well, why not? Okay. Let's talk about the viral video that happened. So this woman, I guess, was in the second to last row, and she reclined her seat, as everyone does. And the last row doesn't recline. So in the last row, it would be extra uncomfortable if someone reclined their seat.
It's the worst seat. You're in the worst seat. You're in that last final seat next to the bathroom, doesn't recline. Everything about it's awful.
Right. And that's in my opinion. So anyway, she somehow filmed it. I don't know how she did it. Maybe her neighbor did or her passenger.
I think she was holding it out.
Okay. And he was like pounding his head.
While he was watching something on his phone.
Like a woodpecker.
Yeah.
Pounding his head up against her
his hand.
seat. Just wouldn't stop. And the video went viral. And, some people, what I saw, most people, like comedians and stuff I follow, were like, you know what? Then get a better seat. Then plan your trip earlier.
Yeah, you obviously made
That's life. What are you saying that? No, and then the guy from Delta, where the airline took place, he said the people should ask the people behind them, may I lower my seat? Well, that's just to get there.
That's ridiculous.
And I don't know why he would say that except to just make themselves get out of it. Like it's between you guys. It's not an issue for the airline to handle. But I totally disagree.
Right. Disagree.
You
mean you should be able to recline?
You should be able to recline and know that, so plan your trip ahead.
Right.
Buy the Economy Plus if you can.
Well, it could be a lot more expensive Economy Plus.
It's really, I don't know because I'm part of United and we do get deals and stuff because I fly so much. But it's not that much. I normally go
if you're
for
doing
it.
like first of all, this was also a 2-hour flight. So the guy could have, it wasn't like it was a 9-hour flight.
But still, even if it was a 9-hour flight, it's still a 9-hour flight for her.
Right.
And she should be able to recline it. And
everybody should be able to recline the seat. It reclines about an inch. It's not like you're laying on the guy's lap.
Right. It's really a psychological thing. Sometimes I thought I've reclined it, and then at the end I was like, oh, I guess I never did because it's so slight. But I guess my prediction is any new plane that's going to be made just won't have recliners.
Oh, God.
Get what you get.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be slightly reclined so that it's safe enough to take off, but it's not going to go down anymore. That's my prediction because this is too big of a controversy.
Well, I have I did a little research on this story, and the FAA, I guess, since planes have been made, the FAA was regulating how much space you were allowed to have between the seats. The FAA stopped regulating that in 2018. So now the airlines, Delta, American, Southwest, they can make it as tight as they want. So it's become much tighter than it used to be. And I've noticed myself. I have long legs. I have a very long femur, which is from the hip to the knee. And the largest bone in the body. And I feel like I can't even fit in seats. I don't know how some guys who are like 6'6"
I'm glad that you said that
6'7".
because I was like, why does it feel like it's tighter when America is getting taller and fatter?
I know.
And I thought, and this is a newer plane.
Yeah.
Because I was in a seat recently that was not first class, was not Economy Plus. And I felt it was one of the tightest seats I've ever been in. And I was thinking, how can this be? This is a newer plane. Now that makes sense.
That's what I've heard, yeah. They're no longer regulating it. And it was more about like getting people out in an emergency, why they would have a certain room, because then people can get out quickly. But now, if there's ever an emergency, it would take an hour to get everyone off the plane. There's no way people be crawling all over each other.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know. I recline my seat. and I've never had anybody, but it does suck when somebody reclines their seat. For a tall guy like me, it sucks.
I have a friend that this happened to, and this is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to call her before this just so I could remember the details. But a few years ago, she was on a flight from LAX to San Fran.
That's an hour.
And it's a
Not
very
even.
traumatic experience for her. So, like, honestly, when she told me about it, I couldn't believe it.
What happened?
She reclined her seat, and this guy reached around and started shaking, physically touched her neck and
What?
stuff. Yes. And they, like, somehow, like, a flight attendant saw it, stopped it. When they got off the plane, she pressed charges. There was, like, a trial.
Jesus.
She had to go and testify.
Wow.
I can't remember what ended with it, but I mean, it's what happened. The guy was like insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really did happen.
That's crazy.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it was really traumatic for her, and like really traumatic
course
to then have to have it continue for months and talk to detectives, and then go to, have to testify, and be brave enough to go. No, well, even sometimes in those cases, even if you're like, okay, I don't want to press charges, they're like, too bad, we're still gonna. Oh, speaking of which, this is depressing. Did you see those that the host of the UK version of something Island, what was it called? Dating Island or Love Island?
She committed suicide.
She committed suicide.
Yeah.
This beautiful host,
40 years old.
gorgeous girl,
Yeah.
committed suicide. She had recently gotten in a domestic altercation with her boyfriend in England. And he did not want to press charges, but in England, they don't care once the thing is made. I think America, they kind of decide on a case-by-case basis. But so her trial was coming up, or where she had to, appear in court about it, and she hung herself.
What?
But 3 other people from the show, I think it's 2 or 3 others, a girl hung herself that was a contestant,
Jesus.
and shortly after, her boyfriend hung himself. And then there was some other person that hung himself that are all associated with being on-camera talent of that series.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Why is that? What was the show about? Tying knots? No, I'm just kidding, everybody.
No, but I mean, I think it was one of those dating things, like either you find a lover or you're bringing your lover, but you're going to try new lovers, like whatever that other one.
Well,
that
I don't know if you heard
on.
the story this morning. There was like this very kind of a famous celebrity sex therapist was killed last night by a comedian.
What?
She had a restraining order against him. The restraining order had run out as of like a day. He came over and pushed. She had, I guess, a balcony. She fell 3 floors and died last night by like an open mic comedian. Drew Carey's ex-fiance. Yeah, but she was kind of a celebrity herself, a celebrity sex therapist.
Drew Carey's ex-fiance named Amy what? Harwick. How long ago were they engaged?
And she was dating this.
And she was a professional sex therapist.
Like a celebrity sex therapist.
Okay. And she was dating a comedian.
She was dating this. He's like an open mic comedian.
But what was his name?
What I saw.
I know, we'll look
they
it
had
up. She was
video
looking
of
it
him on stage at the Comedy Store on the news this morning. Yeah.
Gareth Pursehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
And
she
so
fell to her death.
they broke. I guess had a relationship, broke up because he was getting weird. She got a restraining order of how many years? Do you know?
I don't know. And then I guess it had, they end. I guess expires. Yeah.
But they restraining order 10 weeks ago. But was it a temporary restraining order, or was it one that was set for a couple of years that expires after 3? Because unfortunately, I have experience in getting restraining orders, and they are usually you get a temporary one until the court date, where then you ask for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. I think 3 years might be the top.
Yeah.
And then the judge either says 1 year, 3 years, or no, I don't feel there's a threat. And they don't just give out restraining orders, because the person that you're restraining yourself from, that is on their record then.
Yeah.
Like if they get pulled over, the cop sees it. Like, so they, that is why sometimes you think, well, if you've got no problem with this person, what do you care that they're restraining against you? But oftentimes people want to fight you getting the restraining order against them because it's like on their record
Right.
not going to put them to jail, but it's just one of those things that people can pull up. I think maybe a potential employer can pull it up. It just looks bad. Just like when you find out, like when someone's on a reality show, oh, they had 2 restraining orders and no one did the research. Like if you do the research, you can find that out. So he was probably very angry that she had succeeded in that. And she probably had a right, obviously, to do it because her instincts were right. And I'm sure as we follow this, will his defense be like, I didn't mean to push her off? Because it's such a weird way to kill someone.
Yeah.
Like normally in a passion thing, it's like strangulation.
Right.
Or
Roommate called and said she could hear it.
Yeah, apparently people in the neighborhood heard her, fighting.
Her roommate was being assaulted.
so the roommate called and said that called 911 and said
police,
my
yeah.
roommate is being assaulted. So she lived in like a condo or something, I guess, with a roommate.
Seemed like that, yeah.
And then can you also look how long ago she was engaged to Drew Carey? Because remember, our friend dated a woman who was also dating Drew Carey.
Yeah, well, Drew Carey, I think, was into like all sorts of.
2017 to 2018.
Yeah.
Oh, so Drew was with her from 2017 to 2018.
She got Prices Right, Drew. She didn't get Drew Carey show, Drew.
Yeah, but the girl that we know that was like his
One
kind
of his
companions.
Girls, yeah.
He would go on
she
trips
paid
with
her
her.
rent.
Yeah, it sounded like a little, of an arrangement. That would have been before this girl.
Yeah.
So then this must have been a real relationship.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
So then after she broke up with Drew is when she started to date this comedian. God, you go to Drew Carey from an open mic.
Yeah, this like bad
Drew Carey
open mic
to an open
comedian.
micer.
Yeah.
What kind of girl?
I know, and she's
is
an
there a type
attractive.
That's a comedian.
She seems like an attractive, like successful person. Like, why would you possibly go for some open mic comedian who's doing 4 minutes at?
Even when I dreamed about being a comic, I was going to say a female comic. Well, obviously I'd be a female comic, but that was before you had to like identify as what you are.
Remember when people had back in the days when they did some female comics be like comedian. ENNE, remember?
Yes.
Instead of comedian. Comedian was a man. Comedian was a woman, like actor and actress.
But then all of a sudden,
that went away
now
quickly.
it's all actor.
Yeah, now it's all actor, yeah.
I still like actress and comedian. I'd like to be as feminine as I can.
You want to give me, not, I can't
But
these
I
days.
remember watching like A&E Evening at the Improv and seeing some of the female comics that were big back then. Paula Poundstone, Ellen DeGeneres, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as a little kid, I was like, oh, I want to do that one day. But who would ever want to marry a female comic?
Yeah.
And I'd like to get married and have kids. So I don't know that I'll be able to pursue this dream. I really thought that.
Really?
I was like, I don't know that I'll be able to pursue this dream because it's so unattractive.
Yeah.
I find it so funny, and I know I have a gift for it, but it's and luckily as I got a little older and more mature, I realized, no, everyone should pursue what they're good at and let the chips fall where they may. And
right.
Why
do you feel it's unattractive? Just because the women at that time
were unattractive?
Yeah. I mean, I, honestly, back then it was.
But
a little different.
I liked Joan Rivers, but even Joan Rivers, I'd watch her, and I was confused. As funny as her jokes were, that so many were about her thighs being big. And I remember watching the show and being like, she's thin. She's pretty.
Right.
She's wearing a dress and great jewelry. Why does she keep talking about how ugly she is and how nobody's attracted to her?
Yeah.
And so that was what was confusing to me. And then all the other comedians were like Roseanne, who would make a joke that she was,
domestic goddess.
Yeah, like
that
I'm
was
not
like her
obviously
first
a
thing.
domestic goddess,
Yeah.
And I loved Lucy, but that was in just an actress.
And she wasn't really a stand-up, yeah.
And Ricky still was a dick about her being in the shows.
Right.
But all she had to do was just perform a sketch once in a while at the Copacabana or whatever it was. And she was just like, no, Lucy.
Yeah, wasn't
stay home.
Didn't every episode he just call her stupid?
He was so abusive.
Yeah.
It was so awful. And then in real life, Lucy and Ricky finally break up because he's like serial cheater.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they were like total buddies. Like there was this great video of them before they passed, and they were grandparents, and they were with one of their kids like in the pool.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. I'm like, they still had such a great friendship. It's almost like any other reality show couple that you see, like on Real Housewives. Like they were this great power couple. He created the sitcom. He thought about it, and you know her main thing was she said, as long as he doesn't look stupid, I'm okay. I'm the one.
I should be.
She was always protecting him from day one and his ego. No, if the joke of me doing something behind his back, I'm not going to get away with it because that would make him look stupid. So it was always him finding out, Lucy, what did you do to try to do something behind my back? You got caught, you know? And, but I think there was such a love there. And I think women were throwing themselves at him, and he's a Cuban guy, and he cheated and cheated and cheated, and it was she probably would even put up with cheating, but then she couldn't, like Chloe, because the world knew about it. So then she was forced to divorce him.
Right.
And then she had those other shows that were in color that you just couldn't get into.
Yeah, she just never really. Yeah.
And then in the end, she's in a pool with him in her golden years with her grandchildren, and they're like best friends.
I think Sonny and Cher had a similar thing. They had a very, I think he was abusive toward her, but in the end they became very friendly.
Right.
Toward the end.
That was another thing. That was basically A Star Is Born. Like he found her, he made her a star. Then everybody was just like, we just want you. Ooh, that's what's really juicy right now. I'm reading the Jessica Simpson book, which I know a lot of you are reading.
Right.
I'm about a third to a half through. But they're getting into doing the reality show right now.
Newlyweds, or whatever it's called. Yeah.
With Nick Lachey. And it's really, really, it's a great book. It's a very good book. And but it is a classic in that it's The Star Is Born again.
Right.
He was the much bigger star than she. He and 98 Degrees, he was 98 Degrees, right?
I believe he was, 98 Degrees.
Was he 98 Degrees?
Yes. He was.
Yeah. Okay, but there's NSYNC and there's Backstreet Boys. I just want to make sure I get the right one.
Nick Lachey and his brother were 98 Degrees.
Okay, thank you. Why do we need to look it up when we've got Chris Franjola here?
Exactly.
They had, much bigger albums, all these things. They get married, and, it's her dad's idea to do this. And he says it's the modern day I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
This is what it's going to be. And, and right off the bat, she's like, oh, okay, they're doing it. And this part is really interesting because reality shows were newer then. It was just only the Osbournes.
Yeah.
And she said we started to play these roles that we started to play where he was supposed to be cheap and controlling and she was ditzy and she's going camping in heels and and then when the cameras weren't around, they didn't know how to turn that dynamic off.
Oh, okay.
And then
is that what the book states?
That's what she's kind of, and she's very actually quite complimentary to him. I mean, here he was, 27-year-old guy in a boy band that's, chicks throwing themselves at him all the time. And she was super Christian. And right off the bat, the night she met him, she's like, I am not having sex with anyone until I'm married. And he waited several years. And so
But what was she? Was she a singer herself or something?
Yeah, she started out as a singer.
Right.
She wasn't a great dancer, but she was up against Christina and Brittany, and her were all up for Mickey Mouse Club.
Oh.
And she got cut.
Yeah.
But then she continued to sing. Then she went to the gospel route because her dad was a preacher. And then anyway, then she popped. And then she was doing some music and everything, and that's when she met him, and they dated this whole time. And Tommy Mottola didn't want her to have a boyfriend, and she's like, well, too bad, he's my boyfriend. And Tommy Mottola didn't want them to do this reality show.
Yeah.
But the dad was like, no, this is gonna really and the dad did not want her to marry Nick
Joe
Lachey
Simpson.
either. Yeah, Joe did not want her to marry Nick. They're literally, he's about to walk her down the aisle. He's like, we can still get out of this.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, but he was her manager, which is also a classic too, where the parent is the manager, then she marries the husband, and then he knows more about business than the dad really. So they had a conflict, and then, but where I am in the book right now is they were supposed to do the cover of Rolling Stone, and they get the call, they only want you, Jessica.
Yeah, I remember the cover.
To have to go to tell your husband that,
yeah,
it is straight out of Stars Born.
Right.
That she was in all those movies. Like she's supposed to be doing something with him, and they're like, no, we just want you. Oh yes. Oh, look at you. We're doing this on YouTube, you
there it
guys.
is.
A lot of people, more and more people are watching this on YouTube, which I
Is
appreciate.
that her now?
Because I have
these
all the
days? She
photos
looks
of the
great.
stuff we're talking about. She's
That's-
gorgeous.
yeah.
And that was the whole other part of it is how, she'd go a little up and down on her weight and how much pressure there was, which is
Yeah.
another classic Judy Garland, get thin, take the diet
Right.
pill. Like, have to get thin this quickly and not really knowing the best way to do it. And,
Right.
you
didn't have like the Kelly Clarksons back then who just said, "Fuck it, I like cake."
Yeah,
like
fuck
that's-
it,
yeah.
or makes you. I mean, thank God, like for the Lizzos and everybody that now Adele has lost all this weight and everyone's giving her shit. Now
Yeah.
she's lost too
I
much
know,
weight.
Too much weight.
It's like, oh my God, just enjoy the voice and the person. But
Yeah.
of course, at that time, they were like, okay, we've got Christina and we've got Brittany, and they're both showing their stomachs and they're both blonde. So who are you?
Yeah.
The point is, try not to date a comedian.
An open mic comedian, no less. Like this is.
No, but I mean, it's just
Yeah.
so. I mean, first of all, let's just focus on the fact that a woman is dead who
That's
lived in
sad.
fear. And it's horrible. It's horrible for her family, her roommate, and everybody involved. And I definitely want to know more about that. But
Right.
And horrible for Drew Carey. I'm sure that he loved her. At one time, and they were a couple. I mean, it's just. But that's what's so scary. Is like you have your instincts, you get that restraining order, and to think that he was waiting. But also, if you have a restraining order and you're still in fear, just because you haven't heard from that person, you should try to get it renewed. But again, if you go to court, which takes all day and is a lot of time, you might say, it might go, well, ma'am, when was the last time you heard from this open micer?
Yeah.
When he sent me an invite to his open mic
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Wanted me to come see him at the back of a Olive Garden in Burbank.
3 months ago.
Yeah,
Well,
he's-
that could have been a mistake. He probably meant to take you off. Has he called you? No. Has he knocked on your door? No. Have you seen him looking at you across the street? No. Has he been following you? No. Okay. Well, we want this case to end, so we're not going to renew it.
Yeah. Well, that's apparently what happened. I heard
Or
that this
even when
girl
you
had
renew-
told the
Even when
police.
you renew it, then he could go and fight it.
Yeah.
So if he comes off clear and sorry and I'm over her, I'm just trying to be a comic. She's if anything, she's obsessed with me, then the judge will be like, all right, the two of you just leave each other alone.
Yeah.
There's just no way to know that someone's not going to be. But how did he get into the place is what I want to know.
I don't know.
Did
Maybe he had a
he-
key. They were boyfriend girlfriend at one time.
She wouldn't have changed the lock after she got a restraining
It's
order.
a lot expensive to change locks. I mean, sometimes people it's $200-300 to change locks. Who knows? I have friends who had guys kick down doors. I mean, some of these places have.
Yeah.
If you live in a shitty apartment, the door's easily
Well, she's
kickable.
a celebrity sex therapist.
Well, whatever. What the fuck's that mean?
I guess what is
Yeah.
that? It's
Right. Celebrity. Who's a celebrity?
Anyone can say it's a celebrity.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
is a celebrity. You have
Right.
an Instagram page, you're a celebrity.
Exactly.
So if your client has an
Right.
Instagram page, you can say, I'm a celebrity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Speaking of that, I'm a celebrity. Get Me Out of Here was
Yes.
an English TV show that recently Kaitlyn Jenner was on in the jungle.
Yes.
And it recently won like best reality TV show at some BAFTAs or whatever, an English award show. And Kaitlyn went, and Kaitlyn was jumping up and down as if they had just won the Oscar for Best Picture. But now I'm
Yes.
reading, I don't know if this is true or not, maybe you could tell me, that Kaitlyn is going to pose nude.
So I saw that
Yeah.
and I allowed it to
But
be.
I've been seeing it for a while now, but I think this one is actually,
Okay, so
the deal's been signed.
somebody who posted it in Juicy Scoop Obsessed
Yeah.
was she's going to pose nude in Sports Illustrated. But then in the comments, people said, no, this is from 4 years ago when she
That's what I
actually was
heard, yeah.
featured. So I think it's fake news or old news.
Oh, okay. So,
That people saw that she's going to do Sports Illustrated, so they wrote an article saying it must be nude or partially nude.
yeah.
But the article I read said, no, she's going to be in it, and she's going to have her be wrapped in an American flag with her medal only.
Oh.
And I thought, my God.
Didn't Chris already do
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Chris did it in the very early seasons of Keeping Up. When Playboy was still hot, Kim Kardashian did a nude shoot in Playboy, and Chris was so excited for it. And at the end of the episode, to button the episode, she was going to do her own sexy shoot
Uh-huh.
for then Bruce.
Yeah.
And she got the medal, and she, was doing sexy things. She's wrapped around. So when I read this, I was like, oh my God, now Kaitlyn's even going to like copy the shoot that Chris did, but I think it's not true.
Yeah.
And, but they said the medal is her most prized possession. And I'll never forget when we went over for Halloween, I dressed as Chris. Peter borrowed the jump,
my Chelsea Lately Bruce Jenner
the
outfit.
Bruce Jenner, because you were Bruce, and so I was like, can we borrow this for Halloween? It was little short shorts and a tank, and the fake medal and a wig, and we showed up at their house for just it wasn't a big Halloween party. It was like the kids were just gonna go trick or treating and we're gonna eat and stuff, but they all dressed up, and I go, hello dolls, and that was like the first time I ever dressed up like Chris or anything. We hadn't even done a sketch as her. And because I had the makeup person do like the wig perfectly, and Peter was Bruce, and they loved it. And then Bruce was like, "Where is my medal, Chris? Where is my medal?" And she kept blowing him off, and to the point where he was getting a little bit pissed.
Oh,
and so finally she produced the medal.
Oh, and he was showing it to Peter.
Okay. And he wanted to
Right.
wear it, but like he really did care a lot about the medal, and I guess she had put it some safe place or some perfectly decorated room or whatever, because she had a room that was dedicated to all of Bruce's medals and covers, and she was always really good about like the minute somebody got a PR thing, she'd frame it.
Yeah.
To the point where then it probably just got to be too much. They've been on so many covers, but then eventually that room got redecorated, and then they separated.
Yeah.
And then, but even when they were together, I remember one time there was, like, I went over there and there was all these black and white beautiful photos of all the kids and her, but there was not one.
How do you feel about
Kaitlyn.
the constant filling of their homes with flowers? I just saw Kylie Jenner posted yesterday on her Instagram that I don't know who her boyfriend or whatever.
Oh, that
not only deliver. Sometimes you get 5 or 10 flowers, bouquets, but the entire home is filled with flowers. Yesterday she posted another one. They were like,
Travis Scott gave it to her.
I guess Travis Scott, whoever, to the point where it was you can't move outside of like a little aisle that is made, and otherwise it's flowers.
You know how people do charities and they're like an anonymous donor?
Yeah.
And I always thought that's really nice, but I never want to be an anonymous donor.
No, you want people to know.
I want people to know.
Yeah.
And Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, that was something that's come out, which is really nice.
Yeah.
That he did a lot. He would go visit kids, and he'd go, no, I'm going up the back steps. I don't want any media there. I don't want people to know I do this. Anyway, that was one of the stories.
Okay.
I'll just go right up to the room.
Yeah.
It's not the kid and me. Not,
Right.
Yeah. KABC being there. But I feel like that now, like, can't you just give your wife or your girlfriend a gift?
Yeah.
And know that it's like you've got to now see when you're at this level, when you're Cardi B and what's his name, Offset, that every time they gift each other with anything, it's gonna go out to 20 million people.
Right.
She gifted him $500,000 of money in a fridge.
Who did? What?
Cardi B gave that to Offset for his birthday.
She gave him a refrigerator?
She goes, your gift is in the fridge.
Oh.
And she filmed it.
And what was it?
All his friends were like, ah! And it was just chunks of money adding up to $500,000.
She put the money in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Why?
And then filmed it just to make a fun video
just
out
like,
of it.
open up the refrigerator. He's like,
just
what's
content,
up?
Just content.
Yeah.
Like every gift is for content. So when Kylie Jenner's, fiance or boyfriend or whatever gives her all those flowers, it's like, what if she just went, oh my God, honey, as if she calls him honey, babe, oh my gosh, babe, this is so beautiful. I'm just going to keep it for me. I'm actually not putting the phone away for the day.
Right.
Let's just roll around these roses.
Also, like, now I can't go. Yeah, that's nice and everything, but now I can't walk to the bathroom because the whole fucking house is filled with flowers. Like,
right,
I feel like it's more trouble than it's worth.
It is. Well, now my staff will have to clean it out.
Yeah, right.
But it's all for the gram.
Yeah.
Every party, everything. And I think we just have to accept that it's not even anything to be compared with or anything. It's just content. It's just like you or I, we have to do videos to get people to come to our shows or whatever. It's like, okay, well, this is for the gram, like every single thing. And it's like, what about just giving someone a gift or a piece of jewelry that you don't announce on social media.
Well,
or you
that's
don't
not-
screen grab the
Yeah.
card and post it. I mean, I'm guilty of it that to an extent too,
Yeah.
but it's like, what about the days when you like didn't know what
I mean,
everybody
she
got
has
everybody?
175 million Instagram followers. You know, there's only 300 million people in the entire country. That's more than half of the America. That's craziness.
So
like-
yeah, so what if those flowers cost $50,000?
Right.
She has to feed that monster of the Instagram. So that is what people want to see. They want to see ridiculous opulence and
Yeah.
decadence and
Right.
and it's not about, oh, is my kid going to be spoiled at the end? Of course they are.
It's basically what we used to
but
watch.
there are rich kids throughout history that have been generous, sweet, polite people. Their kids are fucking really rich. That's
Yeah.
a fact.
Remember
you
Lifestyle
know?
of the Rich and the Famous? That
Yeah.
used to be like basically Instagram now. We used to have to watch that once a week with
Yes.
Robin Leach.
You're so right.
And he would talk about, people's opulent lifestyles. And
Right.
yes, it is. And they have a gold toilet.
Yes.
You're like, wow, unbelievable.
And the yachts.
Yeah,
Yes.
and there's yachts and
Crystal.
enough champagne on the yacht. Yeah, so
Right.
there's a lot of that. But that was our Instagram basically back then. Once a week, you'd watch Lifestyle of the Rich and the Famous.
Totally. Yeah. So, okay. So, Bachelor Nation's Crystal Nielsen, whom I met, she came to my show in San Diego.
Okay.
She married Chris Randon. They met on a Bachelor in Paradise
Okay.
and fell in love, and then dated, and then got married on the following Bachelor in Paradise,
Okay.
where the cast on Bachelor in Paradise got to get in some buses and go to their wedding.
Oh, fun.
So it was something that they could do that
Yeah.
they paid for. Anyway, they ended it.
Oh, what?
They ended it.
I cannot believe it. It seems like it was built on a pretty solid foundation. That ended?
Yes,
Oh,
and she
no.
was like a fitness person. She had a really affected Bachelor voice. One of the most.
You mean like that one where they talk like
No, there's the
this?
fry that's like this, the
Yeah.
vocal fry that's like.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope she doesn't come back because that means there's one less person, but I
Yeah.
feel like she will.
Yeah.
No, her voice was like this, really, really sweet.
Yeah.
My name's Crystal, and I'm not here to make friends, but I do want him to know that I am here for the right reasons, but that reason is not to make friends.
Oh, okay.
And then I had someone write me,
Yeah.
Juicy Scooper, who took her class at Orange Theory,
Oh, she's like
a fitness
Exercise,
person
yeah.
out down towards San Diego.
she's very pretty.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Anyway, she doesn't talk like that.
Oh, it's fake.
It was fake for the show.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard they encourage that type of chat, like to speak like that. The producers.
I encourage my Juicy Scoopers that are young and single to take on a different voice.
But like a high, I cannot stand that high pitched voice. I can't.
I don't think that if look, Pamela Anderson still has it. She's on her fourth marriage. There's something about that voice that's like this. Amanda Statton.
Well, Marilyn
has it.
Monroe had it.
Yes, and it's just okay. Let's say we're on a date.
Yeah. Okay.
So first time, it's a Tinder whatever date,
Sure.
a Bumble.
I've swiped. Yeah.
Okay.
Swiped.
You can be whoever you want to be.
Thank you.
Okay. And I'm gonna be me, my age.
Yeah.
I'm divorced with a couple kids, but I'm gonna try something new.
Okay.
Christopher?
Yes. Hi, it's me.
Hi, how are you, Heather?
Oh, nice to meet you, Heather.
Hi,
oh, you
nice
look
to meet
you look just like your pictures, which a lot of
good,
times
thank
people
God.
don't. Yeah.
That's something I hope that wouldn't happen. It's
Yeah.
all positive. But no, I
Good.
mean, I wouldn't have time to, I don't know how to do those filters. I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Just you.
technically challenged.
That's such a relief these days. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I read that you're in your bio, you're a dentist. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you. Uh-huh.
I'm all
Yeah.
about like teeth care.
Are you? Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
lot of
Tell my
plaque
boys
is,
to-
it's a silent killer. It'll
I
get
tell
in
my
there.
boys to brush their teeth all the time.
Oh, you have children.
I do.
Yeah.
There wasn't a place to put that on the Bumble,
Okay.
but I definitely want people to know I am a mother. They're very independent.
Okay.
They're great. My ex and I are best friends.
Are you?
Yes, we are.
Good.
And his girlfriend is wonderful. And so now that they're older, I was like, I'm going to get back in the dating game. They can actually spend weekends with their dad or even
Oh.
alone so that I can go out and, enjoy myself, explore my
That's healthy.
adventures and whatnot. And so this is really awkward for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like super awkward.
Yeah. Are
And
you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
But I just
Nerd, like a nerd.
I mean, I'm nerdy in the sense that I love to read.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and
Okay.
family's everything.
Okay.
But also, I can leave the family at home to go and fuck.
Oh, well,
Yes.
good. Finally, we're getting somewhere. Enough is enough. Wow.
That if
is-
Peter and I break
I
up,
would
I
die
have to do that
talking to
voice.
somebody
No,
like that.
it would get me. It would get me a second husband.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that guy, John Peters, like we were talking about with
Yes.
Pamela Anderson. That's the guy who still falls for that type of stuff.
If I'm out there, I want to find another rich guy. I'm gonna do it with that voice.
Yeah.
A very rich guy like that, and
I
and
would
just
rather
go
like
a whole
this,
nother route.
like the Scarlett Johansson, talks like that. That's more what I like.
The scratchy voice.
The scratchy voice, yeah. Like
Okay, let me do that one.
ScarJo, or there's even another. Who's
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore, yeah.
Okay, let me do a date.
Right.
And see
Okay.
if that's
We're
more
back
of a
on
turn
another
on.
date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you take on a different persona too?
You made me a
Well,
dentist.
you
I didn't
were-
want to be a dentist.
You're not. You've got to share a little about yourself.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Fair. I was just letting you run with
Christopher.
it. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, very good. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Hi, my
Yeah.
name's Kelsey.
I chose the coffee date. Is that weird? Cause
I mean, who doesn't love coffee?
we all.
I
Yeah.
just, I'm probably drinking too
I'm
much
sorry, you're
of
saying
it.
it was Kelsey?
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Kelsey.
And I'm just, this is great though. This is actually not far from my home.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I teach yoga right across the street.
Oh,
Yeah,
great. Yeah, I've
too.
actually
I work-
been into that studio.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Hey, full disclosure, I'm not religious. I am spiritual.
Okay.
And I just, I love it. I gave away the corporate job
Right.
a while ago, and it's just exploding.
Right.
And I feel like, wow, this is awesome, and this
Yeah.
is great. What about you? What do you do?
I'm a dentist.
I don't want to go. I decided I don't
Yeah.
like you.
What? Why not?
I don't like you.
I'm an open mic comedian. You don't want to go out. I have 6 solid minutes. You can come see. Next week I'm
Oh,
performing.
you're a comic.
Yeah, open mic.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I'm new to it.
Really? What made you decide to start
it's
doing
like what you
stand-up?
said. It's like I did the 9 to 5, and I was like, let me do my passion. I've always wanted
Can
to
you
be a
make
comedian.
money at that?
Well, right now, like my last gig, they put money in a hat, and we split it up. In the end, I got $23. So, I mean, listen, it's not. I can't pay
Like,
my
what do you
rent
live
on it.
off of?
I have a I have a podcast. And people,
God, I mean,
yeah.
everyone has a podcast
yeah,
today.
so
and you make money there. Wow,
yeah, well, like
you're the
sell
only
a
one I
couple
know.
of boxes of food that the people, they deliver to your door, and you prepare it.
You stutter.
Yeah.
Surprised you can have a podcast.
I stuttered.
Am I
a
making you
little bit.
nervous?
You do. You are making me.
Okay,
Your
so
voice
which
is
do
very-
you choose? Which do you prefer?
I would choose manly over high
I
pitched
wouldn't.
easily.
I want to fuck the kitten voice.
Yeah. Can I just say one other
Yes.
thing about ScarJo, and I'm going to make one of your predictions. I
Yeah.
just noticed a little bit on the red carpet
Yeah.
that I feel the her and Colin Jost thing is not going to last.
Now why?
Because you know how when you approach that one point of the red carpet, they just want, and as famous as Colin Jost is, he's also very famous, but they want the girl solo just to get her dress and whatever she's wearing.
Okay.
So there's a point where they have to stop and say goodbye to the significant other and then walk a few more feet and get the pop by themselves. That I watched the approach. Looked a little cold. Then they got to the point where they were separating, and it was like, okay, bye. No like kiss or I'll see you at the end. And it looked like it might be.
Well,
It might be the first crack.
He better accept that position. She is an Oscar-nominated actress.
Right. But he's also a pretty big star himself.
Exactly why
Right.
it's not going to work out. Because
Okay.
he's starting to see himself as a big star, and he's starting to get annoyed by it.
Right.
Good luck, fucker. She's going to dump you. I agree.
Okay. All right. Well,
Jussie Smollett.
yes. This story just never goes away.
Well, because thank God it's not going away.
yeah.
So But the brothers are praying for him to finally tell the truth.
These are the brothers who say they've done it.
Yes. And he's saying, I don't know why they ever said that. I still don't know what his defense is. It's his defense that, in fact, two white men who are masked
Yeah.
still threw the acid on him, still put a rope around him, and never took his sandwich. And then he went home, kept the sandwich and the noose around him, and called the cops till they came.
Is it you who said the story's fake because he was a gay guy who got a foot long? He got the highest calorie sandwich at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, at 4
like the
in the
tuna's like
morning.
1,000 calories, and there's no way.
And it's just so
a gay
not
guy would've
gourmet. No
gotten
offense
that.
to Subway, but
Yeah. Right.
yeah, and that you would go out, like you wouldn't just get it delivered. And it was also
Coldest day of the year, by the way. I think it was.
Right.
Yeah.
and also they said the acid would have frozen.
Yeah.
There was no acid. in it.
I mean, I could talk. This story fascinates me to no end. But it got a little weird when the judge dropped the case completely. Then, right after that,
The judge dropped it or the DA
the
dropped
DA,
it?
whoever,
Right, I
dropped
think
it,
she's
yeah.
corrupt or something.
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't know.
that was
There's
talk
some
about it.
ulterior motive of her dropping
Then
it.
another DA has brought the case back, right?
The new DA. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe a new one after.
But also that chief of police who was really adamant against this story. It was like, you're making the city of Chicago look bad.
Yeah.
He wound up getting fired under some strange conditions.
Right.
So the whole thing, it was just always surrounded it's like, we're going to talk about the story in a second. It's like this couple in Hawaii
Well,
with
I
missing
mean,
each other.
I historically
I didn't-
historically Chicago people, let me know. Historically, hasn't Chicago police through the years, as great as some of them are, because
Right.
I love when I play Chicago, and I've had an off-duty Chicago police person come to the city winery and be my bodyguard. It's so fabulous. But traditionally, throughout the ranks of the department, hasn't there been corruption and mafia ties and things like
sure,
that?
yeah.
So I don't know. Was
Yeah.
somebody being pulled in a different direction, or maybe there was maybe that guy, even though he was trying to pull the truth on this, he had something else that then was pointed out, and he's like, "I'm out."
Yeah.
Chief.
Now,
I don't
what
know.
are these two guys saying? Are they saying, yes, I was hired by this
Yes,
guy?
they're
So that's
always
the end of the
saying,
story, no?
We were the personal trainers,
Yeah.
and we were hired to do this. And these checks were not for doing personal training. They
Right.
were to pretend to do this, to be on this video camera, because you do see two people approach
Right.
him, and they're their heights and everything. So
I don't think you ever see that. You don't see.
no, you
see
saw the people
You see two guys walking down the street.
walking down the
Yeah,
street,
no,
but
you
it
don't
was
see him
no,
in-
you don't
in-
see the
yeah.
attack happen,
Right.
But you did see them,
Yeah, right.
who I assume were them.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell who they were because it was 40 below zero, and they were all wrapped up in clothes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a fascinating story. But now that show continues to have everybody on that show's done in some strange
Empire.
Empire. There's been like four.
I feel like, is
different
it even on?
casts.
It's like gone
No,
down.
I think it's
It
finally
like hit its
yeah,
peak and then
yeah.
it went
I
down.
think
Well, this
it's-
didn't help.
I think it's its final season.
So this is a post, and I really like Joe Gorga a lot. When I've met him in person, he's been a delight. But this was a little disturbing. He posted this, and it's two photos. The first photo is the before, and the second photo is the after of a house, two houses that look extremely different.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not obviously not the same house.
And he says, "Look at this flip worth 1.9 million. Took me 6 months to turn this around. Roped off the roof and added the second floor. I think I might move in. Happy face." And then some comments happened after where this person says, "I call bullshit on this being the same house." I mean, it really, really looks different. Okay,
Yeah, well-
I think it could be done, says someone else. Then this woman says, "This is my home. He stole the picture. The before house is not even our lot. That is on the other side of town. So no, those trees were taken down." And someone goes, "What?" And that same woman writes back, "Yeah, my friend also Googled all his old posts, and they are fakes too." Now, I don't know.
Why is he in this
who's
construction
telling-
business or something?
Yeah, I don't know who's telling the truth or not. But
Well, obviously, in that one picture, there's like a neighbor house there, and that's no longer in the other picture. Look, there's a home here that's not in this picture. So
I mean, this is like one of those
it's a
things, like in the
completely
back of
different
People
driveway
magazine.
and
Like, where do
everything.
you find the things that aren't matching
yeah,
up?
They're obviously not the same house.
Now,
Everything about it.
maybe he'll come back and go, "Oh my God, I have a social media intern that did a mistake. They got the two houses mixed up that I
Right.
said to do. That's, Joe, if you're listening to me, that's what you should say.
Joe Gorga.
You should say, I was not intending to do a misrepresentation. It was actually a legit mistake. Or I told my social media to put these people, these before and afters together, and they got two houses mixed up.
Yeah.
That's the only way, because otherwise, yeah, I mean, look, the houses absolutely don't match. And he's saying he took off the, again, this is at youtube.com/Heather McDonald. You can see these photos, but it's completely different houses. The trees are completely different styles of trees.
Everything. Yeah.
So let's hope that he listens to this and blames it on a social media 23-year-old.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about, first I want to talk about this.
These two.
This crazy Dateline, you guys. Now, can you hand me that little piece of paper where I wrote down the names of everything? There should be a small juicy scoop. Okay, did you already press play? Okay, this is the craziest story ever. Okay, this woman, Lori, was married to her fourth husband.
Mm-hmm.
She had a 17-year-old daughter named Tylee from one of the previous marriages. She was part of Church of the Latter-day Saints. She married her fourth husband named Charles, and he had an ex-wife and a couple older boys, and they seemed very happy. And his sister, Charles' sister, inherited a grandchild named JJ that they really weren't equipped to raise. So Charles, who was younger, and Lori adopted him. So now Charles and Lori, Tylee, and their new adopted son, JJ, who was autistic, and they adopted him when he looked to be when he was about 3 or 4, were having a nice life. They moved to Hawaii, and they meet this girl named April in the Church of Latter-day Saints. And April said they were a great family. They got along. He was the sweetest guy in the world. But after 2 years, they said, we have to move to Arizona for Charles's work. Once they moved to Arizona, April said that Lori started to get really weird religiously. She thought she was very into doomsday prepping.
Yeah, a lot of doomsday prep, right?
And she told this girl, April, the world is ending in July of 2020, and I have been chosen as one of the 144,000 people that will make it to the next world, eternity, and I'm going to take you along with me. Like,
wow.
And she's like, and the girl goes, I'm okay. Like, I don't want to be like,
Yeah.
what would this entail? She's like, no, like, I'm going to get you on the list.
Right.
Like, she literally was like, I can get you on the list, girl, for the
Yeah.
144. And the other girl, April, was like, no. So she thought something weird was happening. Meanwhile, Lori is super into this guy named Chad Daybell, who is doing a lot of doomsday prepping articles and things. And he also has a podcast about the end of the world.
Oh, okay. So they were both separate doomsday preppers and met. They had a passion for the doomsday.
Yes,
and
or
that's how
she
they...
met him and then got turned on to doomsday
Yeah.
prepping.
Okay.
So Lori and her husband Charles start having trouble in Arizona,
Okay.
and they
Now this is Lori I'm looking at in the picture.
yes,
Okay.
and they separate.
Yeah.
And and he files for divorce. And in his filings of papers said she has become a fanatic about the end of the world, and she has said that if I get in her way with her doomsday prepping, she's going to murder me. That
Right.
is in the writings. But before they legally get divorced and living separately, he goes that morning to pick up the son to take him to school. He puts the son in the back of the car seat or whatever. And he then goes back into the house, and she and her daughter claim that an argument started to ensue.
Between her and the
And him,
husband? Yeah.
and him, because he walks back into the house, and he left his phone there, and she's looking at his phone, and he's like, Lori, why are you looking at my stuff?
Yeah.
So they start getting in a fight. It gets so heated that Tylee, the daughter, just gets a baseball bat and comes out,
Okay.
thinking to protect her mom. Her brother, Lori's brother, is there,
Okay.
who April, the friend from Hawaii, has always said was a little off. He then claims that Charles, who at one time played like minor ball or baseball in college, hits him in the back of the head with the baseball bat.
Who's Charles?
Charles is her husband that she's getting divorced from.
Oh, okay.
He hits the brother with a baseball bat.
Oh, gotcha.
The brother has no choice but to go in his room, get his gun, and shoot him dead.
Yeah.
in the house. Okay. Oh, at one point, okay, so yes, that's what happens. Okay, so the cops come and the brother is on the porch. He's like, I killed him in self-defense. He hit me on the back of the head with a baseball bat. But it's like he's kind of balding and it's just a slight blotting.
You've seen it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
blotting his head. And they're like, this guy's a fit guy. If he was going to hit someone with a baseball bat, if anyone was going to hit someone with a
Yeah.
baseball bat, there would be a lot more damage than that.
Right.
So, but still, at that point, they did not arrest him. They did not think that it was anything but self-defense. And
Wait,
then
so the brother shot and killed the husband?
brother has shot and killed Lori's fourth husband, Charles.
Okay.
She is in front of the cops. They have her on the body cam.
Yeah.
And she's like, wow, just moved into this neighborhood. Great. This is a great way to meet the neighbors.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Guy's just been shot and killed. So that night, that early evening, she still goes forward with a big pool party she had planned.
Oh.
Someone
no.
her ex-husband to be was just
Yeah.
murdered by her brother, I assume in front of her teenage daughter. The
Right.
boy was in the car. And she still is like, well, why let these water balloons go to waste?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it is hot. It's Arizona. And I
yeah.
assume she had a pool.
Sounds nice. Pool party.
So, still,
Is it really like the night the husband was
yes,
killed?
the night the husband was killed.
They have the pool party.
She goes forward with, she may have planned it that night. I'm assuming
Yeah.
I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that it was planned for at least a week. And she just didn't want to text everyone.
Right. I don't like pool parties. I just want to let you know that right off. I feel like people wet potato chips and wet Cheeto, people putting their hands in right out of the pool and they're like, oh, well, now everything's wet.
Yes, I
All right.
totally
Yeah.
agree. Okay.
That's all I have to say about that.
So the next day, after she cleans up the water balloons and the pool party,
Yeah.
she decides to let his boys, who are 20 or 19 or 20, know
That he's
that
dead.
their dad is dead.
Yeah.
So she does it with a text. Hey, boys! Explanation point.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you this news, but your dad passed away yesterday. I'm working on arrangements. Let me know if you need anything, heart.
Yeah.
That's how she tells the boys that he's dead.
Unbelievable.
Not that he was shot and killed by my brother.
Yeah.
That's it. They literally sitting home. His ex-wife is like, what the fuck? She immediately is like, okay, so where's my insurance money? Well, she didn't know that he had switched it so that Lori wouldn't get it, who he's divorcing, but his sister, who was the one that gave him JJ, the boy,
Yeah.
she has inherited all the money.
Oh, so this woman gets nothing.
This woman gets nothing.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because then she immediately picks up and moves to Idaho.
Yeah.
And
which is also a Mormon town,
I
Idaho.
guess. And all theirs, and the Kylie and JJ stuff is thrown out on the lawn, take for free, things that they would still be interested in.
Yeah.
And the boy JJ has this. He's autistic, and he
Is
has
that this kid?
yes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
he has, and now he's 7, I think.
Yeah.
And he has this beautiful black lab, specifically trained to be an autistic kid's companion.
Yeah.
She calls the trainer right away. She's like, my husband was killed yesterday. Get the dog. I don't want the dog anymore.
Right.
But she still has a boy that's still very dependent on this companion. But
Yeah.
she's like, get the dog. And he goes, well, okay, well, I'll come get him. Don't leave him on the street. Let me get him. I'll find a home for him. And when he goes to pick up the dog, he tries to talk to JJ, the boy. And it looked like he was instructed just to keep his head down on his iPad.
Yeah.
So he takes the dog. They take off to Idaho. Now, the original grandparents of JJ, the sister of Charles, who's now dead, has not been able to FaceTime or anything JJ in 2 months. So they call the police in Idaho and go, could you please do a welfare check on JJ? They come. She's like, oh, he's at a friend's in Green Springs or something. And, and something like that. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'd like to, please let us know where he is. The next day, they leave. Somewhere in there, her brother also is dead. The one that shot him is dead under weird circumstances.
Oh, my God.
We don't know how he died.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know any. I mean, I knew a little bit about
There's
the
so
story,
much to
not
it.
the details.
Also, Chad Daybell, the Doomsday podcaster,
Yes.
who is in Utah, he is married with 5 kids and has been married to his wife for 20 years. She's 49 years old. She suddenly is found dead of a heart attack. And they immediately like bury her like within 2 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did they have a
And
pool party after?
no, but I believe it's 11 or 15 days after Chad and maybe this woman's death. The two of them, I mean, not the Chad's wife and Lori's husband's, the two of them, Lori and Chad, are photographed here getting married in Kauai.
Wow.
They and the kids
are still gone.
Kylie and JJ are nowhere to be found.
But how did the cops just arrest them right now?
I don't know, because Dateline Keith Morrison goes down to Kauai, and they're like, we're trying to find him, we're trying to question him. However, the police in Arizona, Idaho, Utah, and Hawaii are like, be careful, or we're working on this, or
right.
we can't share that much with you. And meanwhile, they also find this storage unit that they had, and they finally get a search warrant to open the storage unit. Now, everything's gone but a couple kids' bikes that were like JJ and hers.
And these kids have not been seen.
Not been seen. I think the last time they were seen was like the fall sometime, like October.
But isn't that enough evidence to arrest 2 people?
Anyway, the end of the world is July 20th.
And how many people are going through? 149,000?
144,000.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't think I'm on that list. I really don't.
Well, she tried to get her friend on the list, and the friend was like, no. And the friend said also about her husband, Charles, and his ex-wife, Charles, said he was never violent. Like, that's not why we broke up. He didn't have a temper. There's no way he would, like, freaked out and cause, like, a self-defense situation. Never had a record, nothing. So Keith Morrison catches up with them coming out of their place.
Yeah.
She's got a bag with some snorkel gear. They're just walking to the beach.
Where you heading?
Yeah. She's got a Hawaii on her ass on a little skirt. They ignore them. And no, they're not arrested, and nobody knows where the kids are.
And I kind of saw that video. She was like smiling, like kind of laughing in the video.
She's very attractive.
Yeah,
she's
that's
cute.
they're a good-looking couple.
And I'm like,
video.
I guess she's living every day till it's last. And she's just like, well, I just killed everybody because then I was gonna.
They're gonna die in July anyway.
Or maybe if they're already dead, they get put at the top of the list. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'll see you in a few months. Let me just enjoy these last 5 months on Earth in Kauai. If I'm going to be somewhere on Earth,
right.
If you knew there were only going to be 5 months left, I guess
Kauai
Kauai is a pretty nice
and a
place
nice
to
like
go.
a linen outfit. Yeah, they look
Spend
nice.
some money on professional photographs because,
right.
you know,
that's a very strange story.
it's horrible.
It's always amazing to me how people are surrounded by so many dead people. Like the husband dies, and then then their boyfriend. It's like, isn't that enough to just arrest somebody? Right? You got arrest. You're under arrest. You know, it's suspicious enough. We'll work out the details later, but you need to be under arrest because 3 people have died in your social circle in the last 6 months.
Well, I mean, they're minors. Like, you're the mother. Their dad is dead. Produce the kids in 24 hours or you're arrested.
But I thought they told them that.
We'll hold you until you produce a kid. I don't know why they can't keep them behind bars at this point. But, here were some photos of them.
I mean, they are good looking.
This is the dog.
She's
is
a
her
very
husband.
pretty lady.
Yeah. Well, she's got 5 husbands.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
That's how she got
when
'em.
you can get 4 to 5 husbands, you have
something.
A Venus trap of a vagina.
Yeah,
you
something's
know
working.
some tricks.
Or that voice.
Yeah. Or you're willing to kill your children and your husband to
just move on
to be with Chad
yeah.
and see his destiny come through. And I mean, one thing I know for sure is I bet a couple more people might have found their podcast and listened to it.
Yeah.
What if they did this all just to get podcast listeners?
Yeah. You know what else I heard? After the death, Joe Gorga flipped their house. He was able to turn the pool into a nice outdoor grassy area. It looks great. I saw pictures.
Chris, you're so great at the callbacks.
Yeah.
In a podcast episode,
I know.
Go back to previous topics.
Thank you.
It's
Genius. Yeah. I'm keeping up with it.
This other story I want to get into. We'll get into it more later on, but it's so insane. It's from this article from The Cut. This guy, Larry Ray.
This is Sarah Lawrence thing. This is way too much story.
This is too much story.
Jump
I'm
into.
just going to get to a little bit of it because I want people to be up on it. This girl was at Sarah Lawrence, which is a small, private, very expensive school. It used to be all girls.
Yeah.
Just recently.
$70,000 a year, basically, to go to. Like it's not a community
super
college.
liberal arts.
Yeah.
No. It's super private.
Yeah.
And it used to be female only.
Mm-hmm.
And they recently started letting guys in. And this girl, Talia Ray, was there. And her dad, Larry, was getting out of prison for what she claimed to her roommates. He was wrongfully convicted. It was some big, it's that the legal reason of why he got into it was a lot of like Ponzi scheme, fake stuff, fraud, people being shice. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
that part's really confusing. The disturbing, juicy part of it is he moves into her like
Dorm. Yeah.
or is it a dorm or like
It was
a
like a house,
three-bedroom house?
off-campus house, whatever,
Yes.
with other,
a
fraternity
couple other
people.
girls, a couple other guys.
Which is so crazy that a father was able to move in without the college knowing.
But I guess because it wasn't college housing.
But still, Sarah Lawrence is now in trouble for letting that happen.
Okay,
I've read
good.
yesterday.
I hope
Yeah.
so. So imagine you send your daughter to a very difficult school to get into, extremely expensive, one that was one of the first all-female colleges.
Yeah.
And the irony of this happening here, the dad moves in, and he's a fucking cult leader. He manipulates these kids. He starts sleeping with a couple of them. One boy reveals to him, I'm not sure of my sexuality. I've had a girlfriend, but I think I might be gay. He's like, you're not gay. Go sleep with one of the other girls. Go sleep with this girl.
And he
I'm going to
watched.
watch.
Yeah.
I'm also going to bring my friend in
Oh.
who was like a property owner or something. He got to also watch.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if they participated, but they were watching. Later on, that same boy, still, they'd have these like sessions where they'd have to hear him lecture and everything. He also removed all the
and he would
doorknobs.
use the things that these people told him to blackmail them later
Yes.
on. Yeah. And get lots of money from
that was the creepiest thing.
Yeah.
So he would say to this one girl revealed that her mom had lost a baby before giving birth to her.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, let's go meet your parents. So the mom's so happy that her daughter's visiting because the daughter's been very aloof and distant since she's been hanging out with this guy,
Yeah.
Larry, who is her roommate's dad. And he says in front of the mom, you really couldn't love her because you were always mourning the baby that you lost. And this was the one that came in after. So you don't really love her. And she goes, what are you saying? She saved our lives. I love her more than
Yeah.
anything because of that. And the girl goes, no, you don't, Mom. You loved the dead baby more than me.
Jesus.
And leaves.
Really?
So he's like cutting them off from their parents. And then he would say, he would do this weird thing where he'd say, you broke the oven, you broke this, you destroyed this, you owe me $47,000 in property damage.
Yeah.
And the kids would be like, all right. And they'd like get their parents to give it to
Give
them.
the money. Yeah.
And then he takes 3 of the girls to his stepdad's property and tells them to put in a drainage system as if they know how to do that.
Right.
And then he goes, well, you damaged the property. You owe me $200,000. And the way you're going to pay it off is you're going to be
Hookers.
hookers
Yeah.
and you're going to be escorts and you're going to give me all the money.
Mhm.
And they did.
I know. It's crazy.
The story is
am
insane.
I
It goes
crazy
on
that
and on.
I thought he was a cop, an ex-cop. Am I wrong in saying that? Because he was the best man at Bernie Kerrick's wedding. Bernie Kerrick was the chief of police in New York City at the time. So he was very well connected.
That's what I'm saying.
with
He had all
police.
these connections and all this weird. That part is really too confusing. I almost have to read the article like 3 more times and do
Right.
like a graph. It's a very long article. It's very confusing of what legal trouble he got into prior to this. But even after this, so he gets in some, there is some type of a trial where they are testifying about the property damage and all this fake stuff that he did. I mean, it's insane. But
Yeah.
he did finally get arrested.
Yeah.
He is
Oh, yeah,
currently
there's-
like awaiting something. And I think only one girl is still like his girlfriend /
hooker. But
slave.
she's from that Sarah Lawrence?
Yes, every
Yeah.
single one of them was part of this. The boys got away. Oh, one of the boy that was questioning his sexuality,
Mhm.
he's like, I'm so sick of this stuff. If you really think you're gay, in front of all the roommates, put on a dress,
Uh-huh.
go down to get the mail, which he did.
Uh-huh.
And then he comes back up and he goes, here's a dildo. Now penetrate yourself in front of the circle of roommates.
In the
and
butt?
he did. And he did. And everybody
Really?
had to watch and he made them laugh at him.
With
And
the
yeah.
with the mail? Did he still have the mail? Because I feel like why am I going to go get the mail? I felt like that was an extra step that you didn't have to
That's
take.
what I'm saying. The story is
Yeah.
so beyond insane.
Yeah.
And the connections that they had and who was screwing who and how he was involved and turning them against. Then at one point he turned three of the people against the other three in the house. And he
Yeah.
said, this three is trying to poison you three. They're trying to, always talk about poisoning and always, you damaged my property, so you owe me money. Those were like his two things to stress them out.
Isn't that crazy how I don't know. I don't think I'm an easily manipulated person. Like I read these stories and I'm like, how did so many people get manipulated by one person in the same house? Isn't there one person who goes, this guy seems a bit off, you know?
I think he finds, all these kids were, half of them had already tried to commit suicide.
Oh, so.
Another thing, like these rich kids that are highly educated are all suicidal. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, it's so weird.
Right.
And so, and then I think he's a master. You're a master at it.
Yeah.
He did it to his first wife, the one that he had Talia with, or whatever that wife was. He got Talia, his daughter, who's at to tell people that the mom had been molesting her and abusing her to the point where he got custody. So she had no relationship with her mom anymore because he did the parent alienation. And so I just think there are people like a Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Whether they've learned it or it's their evil gift, they know how to manipulate people, and they do it in such a step way.
Right.
Of like slowly being like, oh, he did make my life better. Oh, I am more efficient now. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, and he was a Marine, so the one girl was getting all into like Marine stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
what kind of Sarah Lawrence person is into the Marine? Like it was just everything was strange.
And he was arrested for like sex trafficking, prostitution. What?
Yes, that's because of this. By getting the girls having to pay back the $200,000 drainage bill. I mean, it's so weird. Like, who would think
the girls were out digging in the yard?
Who would think, I need to build a drainage. Let me get three, Upper East Side females from Sarah Lawrence to do the drainage.
Stop tick-tocking and dig that ditch, bitches.
I mean, the story is just so insane.
That is it's such a strange.
Oh, and I think, and sadly, I feel like a couple of the people did end up going off the deep end. I don't know if they died or what.
Because I was trying to read. I was reading this article. You sent me the article,
long.
and I was just like, I was losing. I was like, what is going on here?
It's so confusing. So maybe when you have time, go read it, and then maybe I'll read it again.
I did
find
it. I found a
truncated
truncated version of it in the New York Post, like a much smaller version for people who don't have an attention span like me. And I was able to
maybe look for it.
Yeah.
Read that, and then maybe I gave you some details that weren't in that. But yeah, I mean, insane,
it's shocking.
But I have Allie Zarin, who's Jill Zarin's daughter. She is friends with the writer of this.
Oh, really?
And I reached out, but he's probably besieged with like media.
Yeah.
Because the story is so insane.
This is like ripe for a movie.
Right. I asked Allie, I go, you're from there, and this is sort of an age group of yours. Do you know anybody that was a part of this, or But I think the writer that she knows, the reason he wrote about it is because he was aware of somebody that was at the school that knew about it.
Can you quickly cast the guy?
Yes,
manipulative guy.
Ed Harris.
Oh, pretty good. Might be too old. Might be too old.
Might be a tad old.
You might have to go a little younger.
Oh God, who else could be
you
a little
bit? You have to go 45.
Okay, so
50.
who's 45 right now? It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's so out of character for him that maybe he could then get an Oscar for it. Matt Damon with a shaved head.
Very good. Very
with
good
a shaved
casting.
Head.
Very good casting. You can almost do it, I think.
Oh my God.
Very good casting.
You know who the daughter should be?
Who?
In her first acting role and first nomination, Billie Eilish.
Perfect.
Thank you.
These are really good.
Thank you.
Gay kid who gets the mail and penetrates himself. Who's playing that role?
Shawn Mendes.
Oh, I'd watch that for sure. He's a handsome kid. I'd like that.
I mean, we have to get a couple real actors.
These are all pretty. Yeah,
we have to get a couple more real actors.
Yeah, you can't get two singers in
there. How old is Dakota Fanning? Is she too old to be in this?
Yeah, she's a little too old now. She's not Sarah Lawrence age.
Can you look? I'd like to see her. She's very.
I
good.
thought like Jennifer Love Hewitt, but she's like 50 now, right?
What about the cute girl that was in that one Oscar dress that I loved? The blue dress with the tears.
Oh,
Couldn't she be one of them?
That girl. The blue dress with the tears.
Tears of fluffy blue.
Oh.
There were some young Oscar girls that was up for stuff this year.
Yeah, they were in Little Women or something. I don't know.
She's 24. She
Yeah.
can do it. Like the Little Women girl can do it.
Yeah. Soiree Ronan.
I think if they're like under 28, they could play it for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Give some,
It's pretty good casting. I like the Matt Damon. Very good casting.
I mean, this is the kind of role that he should choose.
And Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish may not be able to, but see, the daughter has a smaller role, really.
Right.
The daughter seemed to just be on the outside. So I think she could play the daughter, or she could play one of the other smaller roles just to like dip her foot in the acting world.
Mm-hmm.
But she looks like a girl that would go to Sarah Lawrence.
Who's the one girl who's a big time now? She's got a show on HBO. She's kind of like the one who got Juliana Rancic got in trouble for saying her hair smelled like weed. There's Zendaya. She could be one in it as well.
Sure.
She's young.
It looks like all these girls were white, but we don't have
Yeah,
to
but
cast
you
it all
can't
white.
cast all white. You got to
So
get Zendaya.
absolutely, Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya.
Yeah.
She'd
And
be
then-
perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
This sounds like a pretty good movie.
We're working on it, you guys. We're trying to put it together.
Well, Matt
Chris-
Damon, excellent casting.
Chris, cover to cover is killing it.
Cover to Cover is a podcast I do. Come over and listen to it, please.
Of course, you can listen to any of them. Comes out on Thursdays as well.
Thursdays.
And what are your latest dates, sir?
My latest dates are,
Live dates. You're gonna go. You want to go see a live show. Go see who you
Yeah.
want, but also be aware of fabulous, professional, hilarious
who've been doing it a
comedians
long time.
that no matter what the circumstances or what's going on in the world, they can deliver.
Because I know that Joe
show.
Gorga is actually out doing comedy right now, and that's going to be a great show. So you guys go out there and spend $140 on that ticket, and then when you're disappointed in that, come see me at the Sophia Theater and Sarah.
At Sarah Lawrence. That's
no,
amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to be at Sarah Lawrence, putting in a drainage system for a fella that I met online.
Yes.
No, Sacramento, California, Sophia Theater on the 12th of March. One night, one show.
That
Then I'm
sounds-
at Hyenas in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, that's
Texas
and
people
that's
love
a
that
fun,
place.
That's a fun club.
Yeah, that is the 19th through the 21st.
of March.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Good Nights in Raleigh,
Been there. That's
April
a fun one.
2nd through the 4th. You love that place, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
And then Spokane Comedy Club, Spokane, Washington, April 16th to the 18th. Franjola.com has all my dates. Come out.
Yes.
It's always so nice. Juicy Scoop people always come out, and I love it. That's why
Well,
I
I'm
come
going
do
to post
this.
a video of this adorable waitress. I'm going to say waitress, but I guess she's a waiter that identifies as a woman.
Oh, where?
She is a woman. I'm
Oh.
just saying. No, at San Antonio when I left the LOL Comedy Club. She started to say how great my audience members were, my Juicy Scoopers, and I said I'm going to film you so that they know because you guys should get a pat yourself on the back.
I agree.
For being delights. They were like-minded, delightful people that every time Juicy Scoopers come to see a show, they are recognized as being the nicest
Not only do I
audience.
say it, Fortune tells me,
And Sarah just
and
said,
Sarah Colonna
Sarah
tells
just
me.
had a
She
bunch
said,
of you guys
yeah.
come see her, and she said they're always the most attractive.
Yeah,
too.
I always say that, and I love having you there. So please come out.
It's just nice to know that that your fans treat people right when they're customers. So
and
that's
even the
really
clubs
nice.
like it too, because they're
Oh my
like,
God, they
oh my
love
God,
it,
nice
you
people
know?
came and sat and ate and drank and didn't cause trouble.
And gave a tip, and their
right.
credit cards worked. I mean, those are things that are nice.
No, exactly. These comedy clubs, they deal with some shit. So when they get a good crowd there, they love it.
Yes. So thank you so much, Chris. Love
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.